Hello, everyone. So nice to be here today at Carnegie Hall. This is so special. I'm Tamanna. I'm one of the tech partner managers at Triple Whale. I've been at Triple Whale for about 1 year now, and like Sarah said, I have come from the incredible team with Rebuy. I was at Rebuy for 2 years, so if you have any questions about Rebuy or Triple Whale, come and talk to me. Very special to be here, like I said, with some of the coolest people in the room who I've worked with in the past. Super knowledgeable fellow and Troy, 2 of them as well, who are in the back. And I'm also here with my incredible colleague, Keaton, who is one of the BDRs on our team. So if you have any questions about Triple Whale, go and see him. He's 6'7", so you might be looking up, but he's a wealth of knowledge. Now, if you don't know what Triple Whale is, we are the e-commerce intelligence platform built for faster, more confident decisions. So most e-commerce platforms, they're telling you all your numbers, they're telling you what's happening, but at Triple Whale, we're actually telling you why, and more importantly, what to do next. Now, we work with about 40,000 plus Shopify, Shopify Plus, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, etc. We work with brands all across the board. Now, speaking of innovative brands, I have 2 incredible people coming up on stage with me. I have Annie from Maison Miru, and I have Winnie from R13. So if you can please give them a huge round of applause, I would appreciate it. All right, now I need energy. I know this is the end of the day, but we still got some good tips and tricks ahead of us. So I'll let you both start. Winnie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your role, and a little bit about your brand?
Does this work? Okay.
I have the same question.
I'm Winnie. I'm the VP of Marketing and E-com at R13. R13 is a luxury streetwear brand.
Hi.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me? Okay. Hi, I'm Annie, Director of Marketing and E-com at Maison Miru, a jewelry brand, and I've been with the company only for 6 months. 6 months, yes. And so I haven't really gone through Q4 with them, but excited to be here. We're working on our rebrand, so agility, which is going to be our topic, is one of the things that it's the theme throughout my entire time with the company. So excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
I love that. I love that. So let's just dive right in. Like we said, we're going to be talking about agility today. Now, Annie, Q4 feels like a sprint and a marathon at the same time. Can you tell me a little bit about what agility means for your team?
Yeah, so to me, what agility means is really what we are watching for and how to react and where to focus and when to pivot. So we're not guessing on the fly where we're focusing when we're in the thick of it. And that's when real-time data really comes into play. And we use Triple Whale to have visibility into reliable data. And I've personally been using Triple Whale for the past 5-6 years in my entire career. And I really enjoy using it. I use a lot of other attribution tools as well. And Triple Whale right now with Moby and the agent really give us actionable insight right away. So if we're seeing specific conversion drops, and we can make tweak to our PTP or send out urgency messaging. And if we're seeing we're running low on our inventory, we can redirect ad spend immediately. So agility really means pairing preparation with data and the confidence to make small but impactful decisions on the fly.
I love that. And I think that's one of the reasons that a lot of people actually use Triple Whale. It's that real-time data component where there are a lot of brands out there, you're getting data, a week after, 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, months after. What's that going to do for you? So,
and it also means learning in real time, right? So we're not waiting until post Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or January to recap. We're logging in insights daily. We're updating and communicating cross-functionally with different teams, and we're making micro adjustment to make small but impactful changes and making impactful results.
I love that. That's a great answer. Thank you. Now, we all love the phrase real-time data, but I want to kind of dig into that a little bit more. Maybe Winnie, you can tell us, how does your team use real-time data, or what does real-time data actually look like for you in action?
So real-time data is different from me versus, more a lower price point, because my price point is, 800 and up. That's an AOV, $800 to $900. So I have to be very protective of the brand. So brand equity, I don't want to sacrifice my brand equity, today's brand equity, for an easy buck. That's really what it is. So I have to keep that in mind with agility. So I don't use Triple Whale to pivot. If I see one thing, I don't go crazy and pivot this and do that to drive this incremental sales. What we do is, our creative is very, very controlled. Everything is driven, created in-house, by the founders, his vision. And that's what I have to put into play, his vision for the company and what he thinks that collection should look like. I use, so we're not using Triple Whale to change the vision of the company, change his, what he thinks it should be. I use Triple Whale to see, when we launch a collection, how we should pace, how we should spend. Right now, when we have a collection drop, I backload everything, because by using Triple Whale, I'm able to see when we have a collection drop, the first day of sale, the first day we launch, we have a huge spike in ROAS. So I know, hey, this is where we have to backload everything, and then, and make the revenue for that week or the month. But I guess that's the question, is how am I using real-time data? I use real-time data to look at the spend, how much I should spend that week, and also how I should pace. And that would ensure that future collection, I'm doing the same thing. And then during the collection, where I'm constantly on Triple Whale to see how we're pacing and how to pivot.
That's awesome. And I think what makes this panel a little bit more unique is the fact that both of you are working with two very different brands. So I think, Winnie, can you tell us a little bit about your drops and how because I know with Annie, Q4 is a big priority, but you focus on those drops periodically throughout the year. Mm-hmm. Just to sort of set the stage of how your sales cycles work.
So we're not promotional at all. I don't chase Cyber Monday, Black Friday, Memorial Day, whatever day people make up. That doesn't happen. We have 4 collections: resort, spring, summer, pre-fall, fall, winter, and then 2 sales, 2 semi-annual sale, first half, second half, and that is it. So we already know what our calendar is the whole year. And Q1 to Q4, we have the same plan. This is how we're going to do it. This is where we're going to launch the collections, and that is it. We use Triple Whale to guide how we'll spend the money, how we'll pace it. But we don't really use Triple Whale to say, oh my goodness, my collection is not resonating as well as it should be. You should change the creative. We should do this. Let's do buy one get one free, or whatever it is people usually love to do. And this is how, the data from Triple Whale really helps us what we should do for each collection and how much spend we should put towards each collection in each drop.
That's awesome, because I know you and I had discussed that earlier, and I just to set the stage for our audience here so that they can understand it as well. Now, Annie, what does real-time data mean for your team?
So being able to make quick decision really revolves around preparation and planning. So for us, before going into Q4, we already model out our daily sales, traffic, contribution margin, conversion goal, etc. So we know what good and bad looks like. So then once we already have the benchmarks locked in, we are not chasing after charts or sheets. We're really following one dashboard. And that's, again, when Triple Whale comes in. And we're really looking for 3 main things. High level, 1, revenue targets, if we're hitting our revenue target of the day, and which channel is driving it, and are we leaking? Is it conversion rate, is it AOV, or is it traffic? And then we also predefine what we call pivotal moment, that turn data into actions. So if we see ROAS drop below a certain threshold, for us it's 3.5x, then we go in, the performance team will go in and make changes and tweak in the campaign, and we've say a hero SKU drop under 20% of inventory, then we redirect ad spend towards similar style. We also utilize Rebuy for cross-sell recommendations. And if open rates increase for our email, then the team expand our segment today and not tomorrow. So when your team really knows what winning looks like and are empowered to act on it, that's when data really stop being just noise.
I love that. Who in this room has like 100 different tabs open, looking at all of their metrics all the time? Yeah, okay, I see a few people in the audience. Well, I think that's what Annie was touching on, is that, with Triple Whale, you actually have it all in one platform, so that's saving like tons and tons of time. All right, well, let's move on to the Q4 plot twist. There's always one, I think, and I wanna know a time when you had to just pivot on the fly. Winnie, I'm gonna start with you on this one.
Well, like I said before, we don't pivot on the fly. We actually have a game plan, a very precise game plan, and everything we do is very controlled, precise, and we use Triple Whale to, I guess, really execute anything and everything we do perfectly. And it's not big pivots, it's just precision. And that's what we use. We'll just spend messaging cadence, based on what the data in Triple O shows us, but we do not make fast pivots.
Okay, that's fair. And I bet you there's a lot of people in the room who are in a very similar brand and similar situation to you. Now, Annie, what about you?
But I want to add one thing.
Yes.
I don't do fast pivots, but I do look at the data to say, we use, like how you have Pinterest, and everyone in the apparel space is saying, hey, Pinterest is great for apparel, great for accessories. Everyone uses it. We try that. And it may work for other people. It did not work for us. When we compare it against Meta, Google, we weren't losing money, but it was half of what it is in Meta and Google and all these things. And everyone comes saying, oh, there's a long lead time in Pinterest. It takes, 6 months for them to convert, blah, 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 blah. I looked into lifetime data after salesperson talked to me, and it was still half of everything else. So I knew that it wasn't converting. It wasn't doing it's not that it wasn't converting. It wasn't doing as well as other platforms. So I cut it off. And everyone's saying, Winnie, this is not right. Pinterest works. It's not. We did a whole year of testing. Every week I look at it, and every week I have our agency go, slow down, you're not looking at it, you have to give it time. I gave it a year. 2 weeks ago, I cut it off and I pushed it to Google. That was it. And it was because of Triple Whale that I was able to push back on our agency and say, you're wrong. Because in the past, the agency would be like, okay, this is what it is, and I have no data to prove anything. So I go, okay, you're right, I'm wrong. Okay, I'm sorry. So Triple Whale, it was very helpful with that in that aspect.
Thank you so much. All right, now Annie, the plot twist. What's the plot twist for you, or what plot twist have you gone through in the past?
Like I mentioned, I've only been with the company for 6 months, so this was a story that my manager told me, like he's the CTO. So last year was our first time doing a site-wide discount, and we completely under-forecasted our sell-through for our best-selling SKUs. And also at the same time, our bid cap campaign stopped working on Meta on Cyber Monday, the day off. So instead of scrambling around, the team actually pivoted in real time. So we rebuilt the campaign narrative around scarcity and launched a pre-order functionality on our PDPs on the sold-out SKUs. And so customer can still shop discounted price, but then get the product when we restocked. And we also redirected ad spend towards similar style to capture overflow demand. And we also set up Rebuy for cross-sell recommendation to similar styles. And for the bid cap campaign, we launched a brand new lifetime budget campaign. So then we force spend towards all our Black Friday, Cyber Monday ad creatives. So this movement turned this potential crisis into momentum and actually help us hit our revenue goal and build social proof around demand. So Q4 plot twist, it's always gonna be there, and the change in this industry is constant. And what I've learned is that if your system can bend without breaking, surprises stop feeling like crisis and can actually turn your team and empower your team into like proving what you can really do.
Awesome. That must have been such a panic when things were broken on Cyber Monday of all days of the year.
I know, I guess so.
Yeah, I guess you guys must be planning like heavily to make sure that that doesn't happen again this year.
Oh, yes.
Well, you're there now, so they're in good hands.
We're still doing bid cap.
Okay. All right, now, Winnie, every marketer hits that crossroad. The data is saying one thing and your gut is saying another. Can you tell us a time when you actually followed your instinct instead of the numbers? And can you tell us if it paid off or not?
Well, with the company, we always go by, first thing is instinct always leads. It's, the creative direction comes from a very clear direction from our, the founder. We use the numbers to support the direction, the creative direction, and not to drive the creative direction, if that makes sense. I would say that one time I was able to, in the beginning, when before pre-Triple Whale, and that was one of the reasons I signed on to Triple Whale, was because we had so many different platforms. There's one for Meta, there's one for, Google, there's one for all these different platforms. They're measuring attribution different. So I believe on Meta, we were getting like a 35x. And on Google, we were getting like a 2x. So common sense would be, let's shift the money out of the Google and put it in Meta. And I would drive my agencies insane. I was like, why are we losing money on Google? Why are you doing this? Blah, 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 blah. They would not hear the end of me. And then I get, and then flip the other way, I would also see, to some prospecting campaign within Meta, I would see, like a 0.4x or something, really, really low return. And then, I also complain about everything, as you can see. And I find things to complain about. And the answer was like, oh, we have to feed the bottom. If we don't get the prospecting, then we won't feed the bottom of the funnel, and then we won't have any money, blah, 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 blah. And I had no data, and then I always go, oh, okay, you're right. I'm wrong, I'm sorry. And, cause I didn't want to seem stupid, honestly, for saying, you're wrong, And it wasn't until I had Triple Whale that I was able to go into it, really dig in and say, you know what you're saying is not correct. All these top of the funnel things that you're saying is feeding into a bottom funnel, feeding into a middle funnel, all these funnels, they're not feeding into anything. These are wrong, you're not getting the right customers, you're wasting my money, and this is the proof. You have, like my agencies we have two agencies, one for domestic US and one for international. They both use Triple Whale. And I said, if you don't believe me, go into it yourself. You can see all these brand awareness tactics that you're telling me is feeding in all these things that's making money for the company. You're just wasting all this money for me. And I have no more money for you. So they went back and they fixed it. I was able to get the proof from using the platform to say, hey, you're wrong and I'm right.
Yes. I like that because it's like totally empowering.
Yes, because I was like, I didn't want to say you're wrong because I had nothing to back me up.
No, totally. And I have to say, like, we have a product called Mobi, and it is like, think of like your ChatGPT assistant. You can literally type in anything and ask it like, hey, what was my AOV last week? What was, how much were we spending on Meta last week? What does this particular term mean? And someone like Winnie, who is an expert in one field, may not know everything about another field, but Triple Whale actually gives you that knowledge and that power to type something in and say like, hey, I need to fact check this, break it down for me, dumb it down for me like I'm a 5-year-old so that I actually understand it and I can go back to all my superiors and have fact, not just instinct, to prove them wrong or to at least support my point. So I think it's just awesome that you were empowered by it. I like to hear those kinds of stories.
I want to piggyback on that because I used Triple Whale 2 years ago and I was in beta for Mobi. And at the time, I really couldn't trust what it's giving me. But 2 years forward today, and I use the tool again. Like right now, we're using Triple Wheel. Actually, 2 months ago, we were still using Northing. And we moved back to Triple Wheel, and actually it's been really accurate. And the data that they've been spitting out and recommendation that the agents are recommending has been pretty on point.
Thank you very much. Now, going into Q4, and I guess, in this situation where, Winnie, you're working with a company that focuses on your drops, and Annie, you're focused on a company that really puts a lot of time and resources into Q4. Can we close the session with some tips and tricks that you have for the audience? Or if you could give any piece of advice, what would it be? And Winnie, I'll get you to take this one first.
I want to say, don't confuse activity with agility. Don't see something and then feel like you have to pivot right away. You have to make this one change to this other change, and it'll be a major success. All it does is cause confusion. You just have to be prepared, realize what your goal is, and that's it. You may not see, you may not hit the plan this week, but you may hit it next week, or you may hit it in at the end of the month. But if you keep on constantly pivoting, then you're never going to get anywhere. And this is speaking from not just being in luxury brands, because I work at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they were always pivoting, and it drove me insane. We don't make plans. Let's send out an email. We're not making plans. Let's do 25% off. It was constant. There was no way to measure what was working and what is not, and it was constant change. So that's my thing is, don't confuse activity with agility, because you're not being agile. You're just causing confusion.
And Annie, what's some of your advice?
Yeah, as we all know, things move really fast in Q4, and when resources and bandwidth are stretched, lean on your agency partner or tech partners, leverage AI to your comfortability, and explain so that you can expand your team's capability and productivity. And next level agility starts long before Q4 even begins. So prep early, simplify your focus, utilize technology available to you, of course, smartly, and empower your team to move quickly, and always have a contingency plan.
I love it. I love it. Winnie, thank you so much for being here with us today. Same with you, Annie. Really, really appreciate all of your insight. If you guys have questions for them, come and find us on the floor. Rebuy, Sarah, thank you so much for having us here today. Really appreciate it.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much.